Supplements, it covers two diametrically opposed women that are it's set in a futuristic science fiction world, a bit dystopian, and one of them is traveling to a big city from a nomadic life to save her grandmother and becomes intrinsically attached to a scientist who lives in the big city, and it changes both of their lives.
So you guys had to shoot this in Northwest Louisiana for it to be qualified for the Film Prize. Tell us a little bit about the shooting locations, but also to the visual effects, which was just outstanding.
They were outstanding. Sarah did them. I'll quickly touch on locations, and then I'll let her take over for the VFX.
Awesome.
Location. So Sarah is an amazing storyteller and has a very clear vision of what she wants. And so when she decided to write supplements, we had to find the building that was going to be the supplement intake building to do the rest. We had to find that before we could figure out where we were going to film. So we ended up, she found the Louisiana Sports Museum Hall of Fame in Natchitoches, and from there we built around our other locations and our other filming places because we kind of needed a home base, so that became our home base, and then we were able to branch out from there. We also were at the Oakland Plantation, Ronnie's Auto and Collision, which was amazing. He donated the cars, and his garage was, you can't build that.
Right.
So that was kind of all of our locations. We, by the way, scout them from Google. We get here a couple days before filming so that we can see them. Sarah will go in. She and I will walk through it. She'll tell me where she wants to film, so that way on the day of filming, we're not scouting it. We've met everybody. We know where to set up the camera. We know where our base camp's going to be. So it's an interesting thing, scouting from Google. Google Drive, and then we make the calls and lock those locations in from Los Angeles. So.
What was it like making the calls and trying to convince someone from miles away to give up their location for next to nothing, or even allow you to even do it at all?
That's a really good question. Our locations manager, she unfortunately isn't here, but she just has that charm, and she will get on the phone with someone, and she's also very persistent, so she doesn't take no for an answer.
And she's patient.
She's patient, and she will figure out the best way to work with them to where they feel comfortable and letting a film crew come in and film in their space. So she does that, and then the second round is when we get here, and then I touch base with everyone.
And we somehow managed to, it's mostly you and Liz, make friends with everybody in the town.
We do. We make friends with everyone. And so that's very helpful, because then they want you to come back, and B, they will do anything they can to help you get the project done, which is that Southern charm.
So tell us a little bit about the visual effects, because the visual effects is everywhere. But what I really liked about it is it's not overwhelming. It's there for a purpose. It's not like, let's put in this thing just because I like it, So tell us a little bit about the visual effects.
Yeah, so when I was writing it, I actually tried to write as few visual effects as possible, while still, I didn't want to shy away from something that you would naturally show, like if it was there. Right. So like the flying cars in the background or something like that. I was like, well, it would be there in this angle, and we need this angle to tell the story. But I was trying to avoid it as much as possible, but there's still a lot, as you saw in the film. And so then beyond that, I tried to, I've done some VFX in LA for other projects, for some features and some short films, and then our previous films, like last year with Lilac, Ocean, Pumpkin, Pine, which a lot of people didn't know was pretty heavily VFX. I replaced, because we had to film here, and some of it was based near the ocean, I had to replace a lake with an ocean horizon, so it's like an entire sky replacement, which is actually incredibly difficult to do, but nobody knew that it happened, so that's a good thing, I guess. So for this one specifically, I was trying to lean into the VFX I knew I was capable of doing, and I knew I wanted to also play with practicals. I'm a big fan of sort of the older VFX approach, more of the Star Wars stuff where they had a lot of practicals, and like someone mentioned Blade Runner earlier, and and even Blade Runner 2049, like that, all of that city is very practical heavy. So I'm a big fan of practicals, just because I think anyone can sort of invent anything in CGI, and I think that there's something really magical about something that's practical. So for this, the exterior of the building, we filmed the interior of what is called Supplements Labs at the Sports Museum Hall of Fame, and then the exterior I imagined in my mind. I wanted it to be sort of shaped like a person in some way, and so I went to Hobby Lobby and I was like, I wonder what I can do, and I ended up making sort of this it's for beauty, like the whole Supplements Labs is all beauty treatments and youth treatments, and so I was like, how interesting would it be if it was a woman's head? And then beyond that, I was like, what about a woman's head that she's screaming and you're walking in through her mouth and her head is sort of on fire like Medusa? So that's what it was based on. And then Laetitia came over and helped me cover it all in tiny mirrors to make it like a glass looking building. And that, I mean, just building that alone took about 2 to 3 weeks, and it's probably maybe 1.5 feet tall. And so then I built the park around it, and then shot it in downtown with buildings around it, so it sort of fit in just in a forced perspective kind of way, with the sun right where I wanted it, so that it would gleam off the building and you would really feel like I was a part of it. And I actually learned from another guy in Los Angeles, a DP from the 80s. He was telling me about how to sort of shoot it so it's more realistic with practicals. And so beyond that, the flying car was a practical. The hero flying car. Yeah. The other ones obviously were CGI, but the hero flying car in the garage was a practical as well. And I wanted it to feel like someone had upgraded their car many times. I didn't want it to feel like everyone in this city has a brand new car, because it is sort of like the last remaining city on Earth. And I'm like, they're not really going to be building that many cars. I wanted it to feel vintage, but also futuristic. Right. And so that was sort of what I went off of. So I bought like a small model car and then built elements of it off of that, out of clay and various metal pieces, and and then added like little fire things on it and some smoke in post.
Where'd your cast come from? I mean, it was wonderfully casted by, all the characters you really felt really connected to.
So, Sarah wears 80 million hats in our projects, as you can tell. Yeah. I don't wear as many. I do wear a lot, and one of them is casting. So we have a handful of our crew that work with us all the time that we bring. And they're amazing actors as well. So we always give them a little role, something a little bit meaty for them to bite off. But the rest of it, we try to do local. So we post on Backstage and Actors Access, and every day we'll go through, look at the submissions, and then I will kind of send Sarah the ones that I feel like are in the world of what she's looking for, and then she'll come back with yes or no, or I'm still looking for this, and then from there we just kind of keep digging until we end up with the cast. But we really focus on the diversity, and so when you do a casting call down here, it's Louisiana, it's Texas, it's Georgia, it's everything. It's the whole South pretty much. So it's a lot of submissions, and it's a big pool to go through. And it's hard because it's not. There's a lot of talent, and it's not like you just see that one person, you're like, that's the person. You have to really dig in, and then some people, you ask for a tape audition, and they don't tape the audition. So then there's that back and forth of getting that, because we have to see tape. We have to see something of them on camera, because that's the only way that Sarah can know as the director what she's going to be able to work with. And so it was all, we did it online. We didn't do any live auditions, and then we met people the day they showed up to film.
It seemed like everyone clicked so together. I mean, it was just wonderful. You can really relate to the characters. So for people who want to join the Film Prize next year, or make a short film, what tips would you give them? Because you got to film in Northwest Louisiana, you got to do this, you got to do that. Tell us why they should do this, and what are some of the tips that you've learned, or the tricks of the trade?
This is our second year. We're not veterans yet, but I would, first of all, the community. what the Film Prize brings to Shreveport, what the Film Prize brings to Louisiana, the community that it creates is incredible. You get to meet people from across the country, and you get to meet amazing jurors who can give you advice and who do other festivals and open that door for you. But you also get to know what it's like to make a movie in a place where people want you there and they want to help you, and they're excited about it. I would say make a movie, come out here and do it. If you're not a filmmaker, look for the audition for them, because I'm telling you, most of them are going to be taped probably, so you'll be able to submit. You won't have to fly to LA to audition. You won't have to come to Shreveport to audition. And if you have never done a movie before and you want to learn, reach out to the filmmakers. I mean, we're phillionproductions.com, phillionproductions@gmail.com. Like, reach out to us. Reach out to other filmmakers and be like, hey, I want in.
And I would also say, just as far as like learning, there's a lot of people who, I never went to film school. I have 2 degrees in writing. So I would say the best way to learn is to do it. And I've worked with a lot of people who say directors direct. Like, you're not going to learn how to direct unless you go direct. You're not going to learn how to DP. I mean, I've been shooting film since I was 16. Letitia's been acting since she was 6. We've been in Los Angeles for 10 years. This is our 8th short film, I think. So, and our first one was not good. So, and many of my films have not been good. And so it's a matter of every time you do it, you get a little bit better. So you just have to start doing it, whether it's with your neighbor who sort of you think would be a good actor, or, somebody in your acting class and you want to write something. Like, you're not going to know what you did wrong until you do it, you put it on a screen and people watch it. And that's how you learn, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I didn't go to film school either. I was a theater major. And the first time I ever produced was theater, which is producing. When someone asks you what you do when you produce, you do everything. And the only way you're going to learn is by doing it.